I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Department of Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack testified before a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Tuesday. His testimony centered around his department's 2023 budget request. During his opening statement, he highlighted the over 61,000 farm families that he described as financially, quote, on the brink. Vilsack urged for bipartisanship to find a solution to assist these families. Here's more from the Secretary of Agriculture's opening statement.
Let me start with a very important and I think significant statistic about the ag appropriations process. Non-defense discretionary spending over the last 8 or 9 years has grown by 27.4% across all departments, while the USDA's discretionary budget has grown but 14.3%, roughly half. And essentially what this has done is it's created some challenges with reference to the department, and I appreciate the chair's commenting on 2 of the 3 that I'm going to discuss today. You mentioned the issue of staffing. Madam Chair, I will tell you this is a serious issue for us. When you look at our nutrition programs, we have seen a doubling of the amount of resources that goes through those programs, but we've seen the workforce at FNS be cut by 25%. When we talk about rural development, the department that basically is in the mission areas that is in charge of 3,142 rural counties across the United States, 15% of America's population, roughly 75% of America's land mass, deals with $30 to $40 billion in loans and grants each and every year, oversees a significant portion of the $230 billion loan portfolio that we have at USDA, but it's short about 500 workers. When we take a look at the backroom operations of USDA, the departmental administration, we've seen a nearly doubling of procurement responsibilities in that department, but the workforce has been cut by 43%. So I think it's essential and necessary for us to talk about the staffing levels at USDA. I think it's also necessary for us to talk about research. While healthcare research has understandably grown significantly by as much as 400% over the last decade, research in the ag area has flatlined after you take inflation into consideration. At one point in time, it represented 4.3% of the overall non-defense research allocations and appropriations for the federal government. Today, it is 2.3%. So it's been literally cut in half. This despite the fact that for every dollar we invest in agricultural research, there's a return of investment of $17. And I would say that most would say that's a pretty good return on investment. So our hope would be that as we talk about the budget, we focus on the important role of agricultural research. And you mentioned rural housing. That is also a challenge. We appreciate the additional support and help that this committee has provided in this space, but the reality is that we continue to struggle to maintain adequate housing. And we're going to see over time a significant reduction in the number of units as loans are paid off. Essentially what happens is those units convert from being subsidized to being available at market rates. So we're encouraging this committee to take a look at ways in which we could decouple the interest rates and the mortgage and the loan from the subsidization so that we would continue to be able to provide additional units, and also investing in the rehab of existing units so that the housing is not only available but also decent. In the time that I have remaining, Madam Chair, let me talk about something that's really of concern to me that is a bit outside the purview of this particular department, but it's of this budget committee, but it's something that I think we all ought to be concerned about. There are 61,670 farm families in America today that are on the brink. 61,670 farm families that are either delinquent in their loans to USDA, are bankrupt, or are pending foreclosure. This is a serious issue and I'm pretty confident that every single member of this committee probably has a number of those 61,000 farmers living in their states. It's important and necessary for us to put a spotlight on the challenges. Now, these are people who have borrowed from USDA or who have had a guaranteed loan from USDA, which means that they haven't been able on their own to go to a commercial bank and be able to secure financing. So these are folks who need help. they need assistance. I represented farmers during the 1980s as a small-town lawyer. I can tell you the pain. I can tell you the stress. I can tell you the decisions that folks make under these circumstances. I can tell you very tragic decisions that they make under these circumstances. So I would hope that as we talk about the future of agriculture in this country, that we don't lose sight of those 61,670 farm families. They deserve our attention. They deserve some creative thought about how we might be able to assist them during this pandemic-stricken time. And I sincerely hope that we can work collaboratively together in a bipartisan way to make sure that they have a hopeful future as opposed to one that is currently stress-filled today. I see the ranking members here, and so I'm going to stop talking.